Has there been some news over the last week then?
Oh, maybe just a little bit.
I think so. We'll make something up. Oh.
You can always. Sorry, yeah, we'll talk about. We'll talk about it later.
And the good news is, I found a way of pre-embedding the Google Hangout stuff.
Oh, excellent!
So I don't have to do it as we come on air. I can do it now, and we are in fact live.
Excellent. I've just managed to get Windows the 10 preview back on our PC after my wife accidentally clicked the boot menu that said roll back.
Oh, that's a bug in the.
Yes, so I've used BCD edit to get rid of that.
Very good. Right. So we are live, and good evening. And is there any news to talk about this week?
No, I think stop now.
Yeah.
Nothing new.
Just a quiet week.
I'm just going to go and play with my non-holograms.
Well, that's it. I don't even know how we're going to fit it all in tonight. We've got a couple of posts during the thing, but I also did watch at lunchtime today. I rewatched the keynote and made some notes as well. So I thought this is going to be a packed show tonight, and that's not even including the HoloLens. Plus, we can talk about actually experiences of the new build as well. Now we've got it as well, and I found out there's been some information about the 7-inch tablets as well. So we've got all that to fit into one show. So, so here we go.
It's going to be quite hectic, and you can always tell that there's been a Microsoft announcement because Joe Belfiore suddenly becomes active on Twitter again. I think maybe he knows he's not very good at keeping secrets, so he always goes off Twitter when there's a big announcement coming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, he always goes really quiet.
He reappears for until he gets close to the next sort of keynote, and then he'll disappear again.
Yeah.
So, well, since we last recorded was the Microsoft event where they showed us what we're expecting, which is Windows 10. They talked about new hardware devices. I thought, maybe a new Surface. Well, there was of a kind. And then they completely surprised us with the HoloLens stuff.
They did. I didn't show the phone keyboardy phone that I spoke about last week. So that's the one thing we definitely got wrong last week.
Jason, you're still there. You said hello in the chat room. We can hear you, Jason. I better tell him. He must have gone off. No, you're back. Hey, back, Jason.
I can't hear Jason.
Oh, he's gone. We can't hear him.
Come back, Jason. Also give it.
You've unplugged your headset.
No, Skype suddenly switched back to the onboard stuff.
Oh, there you go. Well, we can hear you perfectly now.
That's weird.
Yes, I'm back.
Even though he's back, even though he's never actually been anywhere before.
And the new improved version of Skype means I could actually, see the message, which is even better. Right.
Yeah, I could see the lines appearing in DCNO. So, oh no, they're still talking. It must be me.
It's you. So they surprised with the HoloLens stuff, but we will talk about that. But the Windows 10 stuff, they packed some things into that as well. And of course, we should, since the keynote as well, I actually got Windows 10 installed on an 8-inch tablet. And
excellent. I've swapped out our main TV for a Surface Hub.
Yeah.
If only, I'd love one of those.
Yeah, so would I. So we won't spend too much time on that, but let's just talk about that. That was what, the 55 or an 82-inch Windows PC, effectively, isn't it?
Yes, the new product hidden in plain sight. I thought that was very cleverly done.
Well, yeah, although it wasn't actually that new because they've actually been using the Pixel Sense TVs at virtually all their presentations anyway. Yeah. So it's it's a new name, but it's a good new name. I do like that.
Yes, I thought it was a very good name as well.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I was just listening to Entertainment 2.0 on my journey back, and Josh doesn't really like the hub part of that name, although he gets the Surface point. But I actually like Surface Hub. It's the center of your Surface world, basically.
So the Microsoft vision for a meeting is where they're all there with Surface Pro 3s connected to your Surface Hub.
Yeah. Yes. I think that is the branding, isn't it? You know, they want Surface to be seen as a business tool.
Yeah. Well, can you imagine? I mean, I know they got this tie-up with the the NFL, but I could just see one of those being used in the team talk. With everything. Let's show the video from last week and put the stuff up.
Well, I know on Sky's Formula One coverage, they have the Sky Pad, which is a big 50-inch touchscreen. So that's effectively what that is, and they show a lot of stuff and they stand by it, and it's part of the sort of their prop. So I think it would be great for that.
Yeah, I think when we're all using it for our weekly Skype chat, that would be excellent.
Excellent. Yes, it will. Yeah. So when we get on the TDL show on that, then we know we've made it.
Yes, absolutely.
Anyway, so apart from that, so they talked. They talked obviously about the new version of Windows, the new build of Windows 10, and they really did reveal quite a bit more than the previous. And like I said, since then we've actually got the build, so we can actually talk about how it works as well. I spent nearly 2 days trying to get it to install on my Toshiba on Core 8, which a lesser man would have given up, but I persevered.
Yeah. Well, like I said before we started recording, I managed to get the new build installed onto our PC, but one of the bugs is it doesn't remove the boot menu for the rollback, and my wife accidentally clicked the rollback. I went to use the desktop PC, which, like I say, I don't use that much, and I thought, this isn't quite the build I was on the other day.
So, Gary, have you got the new build installed?
I have indeed. I'm using it as I speak, actually, on my big screen. So, which I'm actually running in tablet mode, which is a bit weird.
Yeah, we can talk about that. So the first thing,
the Metro apps are too maximised. You've got to maximise, then you've got full screen. It's quite confusing until you get used to it.
And I think we've got a proper name for the Metro apps now.
Modern, they're now modern.
Modern or universal, I noticed.
Well, they're universal development for modern apps. So they're actually modern apps in the menu. So that must be the name.
Yeah.
Yes. I think even BBC have said they're in talks with Microsoft about Windows 10.
Yes, I've got a link for that to do a post on that, actually. Yeah. So they started off the keynote, did a bit of a recap on the Insider program, which seems to be a success. And then one thing I did notice as well, they talked about Windows and they said, you're our customer, not our product.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a thing there. And Rob in the chat room, hello everybody in the chat room, says, let me try Windows 10 on Lynx 8. If it's got a compressed boot image, no, probably not.
It is doable. If you go to lynxtablet.co.uk, there's guys over there actually doing it.
Yeah, it's complicated.
But it's complicated, yeah. And I probably wouldn't recommend it yet.
Yeah.
I've not done mine yet, but we'll talk a bit more about this anyway, but I wouldn't recommend probably the tablet build anyway yet. I think it needs a few more iterations before we actually get there.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the part at the beginning, first let's talk about the upgrade path. So how can you get to Windows 10? What's the cost going to Windows 10 from Windows 7 and 8?
Well, it's kind of free.
For the first 12 months, terms and conditions apply.
Yeah, terms and conditions apply, and it does depend what type of Windows 8 device you're working on. But basically, I think the shock there was the Windows 7. Well, I think we all knew it was going to be free from 8 and 8.1, but the fact that it's going to be free in the first year from Windows 7 is brilliant, and also very clever putting that time limit on it.
Yes, I thought so too. I think, and I do wonder whether or not that will eventually fade away. But the way I saw that time limit as being a way to say, because if you say to someone, you can have a free phone in the next 12 months, or it's going to cost you, you're going to rush out and get a new phone, aren't you? And I think it's a great way to drive uptake, and they clearly want to get as many people onto the operating system as possible. Maybe even see the Windows 7 base kind of fall away. So and I think it's a very bold move and a very sensible move. Yes,
and I think especially the way that they're marketing Windows 10 as an upgrade from Windows 7, sort of with the return of the start menu, and so they're saying if you hated Windows 8, don't worry, Windows 10's fine. It looks familiar, and making it free makes it even easier.
Yes, yeah, and there is there's an example of this. Everyone was outraged when they announced that the price of the Xbox One was going back up. Well, that was the obvious thing to do, because again, you're going to rush out and go, oh gosh, if it's going to cost me an extra $50 next week, I'll buy one now. And then obviously the price went back up temporarily and then went back down again. But it's just I think that's the way marketing works. Give someone a deadline and they're more likely to jump.
And,
So-
and go
so,
ahead,
Ian,
Gary.
so Ian, I was just going to ask you actually, with your business head on, your job head, your day job head on, would that encourage you to upgrade your PCs?
Possibly. I still, it was certainly that we would upgrade the Windows 8 machines straight away. The Windows 7 machines, I'm not sure, because of the corporate licensing side is so complex that that'd be more measured. But I certainly would be encouraging, anybody with a Windows 8 machine, or even say my wife's Windows 7 laptop, a personal one, I would probably do that. For an enterprise, it's a much longer amount of thought that needs to go into it, I think.
Yeah, I can see that. Although, in some ways, I mean, it is going to be free under the corporate licensing as well. So, I just want. I know this is partly because they want to push people as quickly as possible over to the new platform, and I just wonder if it's actually going to have that effect.
From my point of view, it's kind of a change to the OS is a training issue. And in the past, when we've done it, when we went from XP, we went to 7, and we did it when we installed new hardware. So maybe we would do that on the next hardware refresh. For laptop users who've got 7, maybe we would look at upgrading those. But I doubt it, unless somebody asked for it. I doubt I'd go around and do it. But for anybody that's got a laptop with 8 on, I would definitely do it. It makes sense if they've already got 8 to move them up. But for consumers, I would definitely say, get it upgraded. But go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying. I think I would be slightly wary. Obviously, the obvious candidate in our household is my wife's Surface Pro 2, but I would be slightly wary because I know she's kind of gotten used to the way that Windows 8 works, and I think unless you kind of run it permanently in tablet mode, I think there is almost some unlearning to do.
Yeah, I think if you're happy with Windows 8 and 8.1, especially like I am on my Surface 2, then there isn't the huge incentive. But if you're a Windows 7 user, then I think the jump's pretty good. And if you're struggling to get your head around Windows 8 because you were used to Windows 7, then again, it's good.
Yes, yeah, and I think that's it. I mean, I think the irony is the people that have really taken to Windows 8 are they're gonna almost be slightly dissatisfied with the switch back. So, and while I think my wife would get used to it, especially since it is a question of kind of reusing those skills from Windows 7, I still think it would be a bit of a shock for her.
Yeah. Now the other announcement was that Windows Phone 8 and 8.1 will get the upgrade to Windows 10, not Windows Phone 10, but to Windows 10.
Yes, although since then I think there's been some talk that certain models wouldn't. Like, for example, I think my son's Lumia 530, I think it is. He's got, I forget all the numbers, but he's only got 512 megabyte of RAM, and I suspect that's probably not going to be one of them.
Well, the last I heard, and this can change every day because it seems to have been, was that they would get an upgrade to 10, but some features may not work.
I got you. Because actually, I was just going to backtrack on that slightly, because they did say when Windows Phone 8 was announced that it would be an 18-month support cycle. So in theory, it should be within that time frame.
Yeah. I mean, I think the initial announcement was that there's anything that any Windows 8.1 phone would be upgradable to Windows 10. Now, as Josh and Co said on Entertainment 2.0, what does that actually mean? Does it mean phones that are shipped with 8.1? Does it mean ones which are actually running 8.1? But it does seem to be that they're basically saying that everything will go to 10, but some features may not work on certain things. And that's fair enough, because if you actually look at 8.1, some features don't work on all phones.
Yes, and the interesting,
Hey Cortana, for example.
Yes, which I now have. I've got the denim update on my 930 at last. Yes,
I haven't got it for my Lumia.
Yeah, it works really well, except unlike the PC, you have to say "Hey Cortana" and then wait for her to wake up. But the camera, the way it comes back to life is just instant. It's really good. But what I was going to say was, I've lost my train of thought completely.
The upgrade.
No, it's gone. It'll come back to me.
When it comes back, you tell us.
Yeah. Edit that bit out. Edit it when I remember.
You haven't been taking anti-allergy tablets, have you? That's with the outside.
I remember what it is. It's Yeah, the interesting thing is that this is going to be the first update to Windows Phone that isn't a complete rewrite. Because Windows Phone 7 series, from its original name, was a complete rewrite. Windows Phone 8 was a complete rewrite using the Windows kernel. So this is actually the first bit of stability that Windows Phones had.
Although you could almost make a case for it being a complete rewrite. In some ways.
Yeah, it's the biggest jump in terms of what they're saying, that this is one Windows, but it is an incremental.
Yeah,
build.
but you've had to look at what they're doing with the UI. That could be a major change going forward. If it's actually going to be based on XAML, it's going to be all these, because there is some talk that what we're seeing in Windows 10 as the new start menu will be the new phone menu. And obviously at that moment that is really quite limited. And we have to go a long way to actually match what's on the phone currently.
Yeah, because the demo that they had, actually the new start menu looked quite nice with the way the background was and things like that.
That apparently is coming to the 10 desktop start menu. So and when I know we're getting onto this, but when I first started using the new start menu, I was actually quite taken aback by it. I didn't actually like it initially.
Exactly, I agree. Yeah, no, I did initially.
But now I've actually got it in my head that it's actually the Windows Phone menu, start menu, effectively. So it's the same structure, the idea of that, and it scrolls down, and that's how it works. I actually like it, and I like it in desktop mode.
It appears very barren at first with the cluttered sort of left-hand column, but that's because you've no apps pinned. Once you start pinning your apps, it actually starts to make sense. I mean, I know it's an early build of it yet, so it's not finished, but yeah, it kind of looks nice, especially when I'm using it here on this 8-inch tablet. So in tablet mode, it actually makes sense when you start to get the apps on there. What I found is you really need to pin them as the extra large if you can.
Yes, extra large makes. I mean, some of the animation and some of the live tiles are a little bit disappointing at the moment. The people live tile, particularly, I found very disappointing the way it works now. I'd much rather have the current Windows Phone 8 version of it. But I think those things will come. I mean, one of the announcements which caught my attention on this thing was the fact they said this start menu has been written in XAML, which is a huge change from a developer point of view. Now, people may not know what XAML is. XAML is a markup language which is used in .NET development, and a lot of people are very familiar with that. Most of the original Windows 8 design for start menu and things like that was actually done using JavaScript, or a lot of it was, and some native stuff as well. The XAML side of things should give us a lot of room for animations, for the fact they got this transparency coming up. It should make it a lot more flexible and scalable going forward. So I could see that being quite innovative, and also gives me hope from the developer's point of view that they're actually going to feature XAML more and actually make it a much more full partner in the development process.
Can you hear this sound?
Yeah.
On my 8-inch tablet, it says Gary Whittaker incoming call.
I thought I could hear a Skype in the background.
Yeah.
I hope it's not my phone.
It just took me 5 minutes to realise it's that. But the XAML menu, I like it. I think it makes sense to build it in that. But go ahead, Jason.
I was just going to say, it's we talked about this on the show before the presentation, and the Windows Start menu now on Windows 10 works the way I wanted it to, where I can actually pin tiles where I want to pin them. Yeah. So if I want if I want to move the people so that it sits in between on its own, in its own separate row, I can put it exactly where I want it to.
I'll tell you what the weirdest thing was, because obviously a lot of people had all the tiles wiped out when they went to 10. Well, they'd already pinned on there. But I got all my groups back from my original Windows 8.1 groupings.
Oh, did you?
And that's all I had was groups, and I thought, what the hell is this? But it was definitely a bit of a shock to the system. But once I realised what was going on, it made a lot of things. I mean, there's a lot of things they still need to improve. I want to see separate arrangements for when I'm in tablet mode to when I'm in start menu mode, so I can actually move things independently on those two modes, because the layouts don't match properly.
I'll tell you what I'd like to really see as well. In the bottom left-hand corner, especially when you're tablet mode, I saw it on my screen on the webcast. They, where they recently added is, and then they've got a tiny little all apps written below it. Yeah. On a tablet like this Toshiba, it's tiny that.
It doesn't make sense.
And you've got to tap it, but wouldn't it be good if you could just swipe up, and that
Yeah.
pops that list up? So so where it says all apps, instead of tapping it, you just drag up, and it pop. Then it brings
But
up
don't-
that list.
On a really tiny tablet, aren't you going to be getting the phone and small tablets experience? as they
Not
can say?
on an 8-inch.
Not on an 8-inch, no. On an 8-inch, yeah, the target is too small, and I want to see that scrollable anyway. It makes much more
Yeah,
sense.
just to flick it up as
Yeah,
a
flick it
gesture.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people have said that. So if they're listening to the feedback, they ought to be picking up on that. I mean, I would actually like to be able to collapse that out of the way as well, not even have that showing.
Yes, to
Maybe-
the side. Yeah, and maybe
maybe drag-
like a
drag-
Windows phone.
Yeah, well, there's a phone where you can drag it one side or the other, and I think
Yeah.
that might come.
Yeah.
So I could certainly think. I mean, there's a lot of stuff they've already said. I mean, someone I saw on Twitter the other day was moaning the fact you can't drag and drop stuff from the most used list onto the start menu, but they've already said the drag and drop is coming to the start menu.
Right.
So,
And resizing as well is coming.
resizing, yeah. So the other thing I've seen a lot of people moan about is there's no menus on the tiles for controlling whether they refresh or not, and whether they're actually live or not, and things like that. But all that's likely to come.
Yeah.
I think that's reasonable. I mean, certainly the experience has gone backward for pinned web pages and things on live tiles at the moment. But again, it's a very early bit. I tweeted out, and I think this. A lot of people picked up on this and sort of commented on it, but I said basically that Windows up to now, Windows 10's felt like a skin on Windows 8. It's not actually a skin on Windows 8, but that's what it felt like.
Mm-hmm.
But with this one, it actually feels like a fresh start. They've actually started something new. It feels much more like Windows Phone is invading Windows 10.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing.
Yes, I absolutely agree. I mean, it does feel like, with the Windows Start menu and a lot of the functionality that they have, completely kind of almost ripped the guts out of it and starting to rebuild it properly. So it is we're getting to see this at a really early stage, and I do hope that we'll see things, that maybe an option that when the start menu goes into the full screen start screen, that the most recent and places can be an option to switch off or switch on. But then again, at the same time, it's on a full screen. I don't necessarily want everything pinned, but there might be apps that I want to get to quite quickly, and so as that most used becomes relevant to what I use, and I think it would be quite useful to have it there.
I'll tell you the other thing, which is really I find quite interesting. I don't know if it's a design thing or whether they're actually going to put something on there, but on my screen, when I go into the full screen start menu, I get huge margins on each side of the menu. So basically on my screen, I've got a margin which must be about 2 inches on my video on each side. So it's not a full screen, and things like the start button and the resize button at the top aren't actually at the right hand edge. There's a huge gap between them and the right hand edge. So I wonder if they're using those areas as swipe areas, or there's some reason why they haven't actually used those areas.
I mean, mine on my 23-inch monitor, I'd say they're pretty close. They're certainly close to the top edge, and they're not that far away from the right-hand edge.
Yeah, maybe it's just on large screens. Maybe it just can't scale properly at the moment. It's feasible. I mean, and I think again, just to repeat, this is incredibly early release for something which is almost brand new by the looks of things.
Yes, the one thing that I've noticed as well is that if you're in, say, for example, the Mail app, and then you open up settings, it flies off from the edge of the screen. Almost. Actually, I've just done that. It's slightly different now. Maybe they've updated the app, but yeah. So you kind of hit settings with the application sitting in the middle of the screen, and it flies on from the edge it's nearest to by the looks of it, and then flies off back to the edge, which is a bit of an odd animation.
I mean, all that sort of stuff is likely to change. I mean, the settings stuff, it seems very, I don't know, it's a great start, but it does feel a bit unnatural at the moment.
Yes, and of course, this is a very early release that things are going to evolve over time, and I think it's safe to say, looking at Joe Belfiore's presentation, that we're quite often getting these builds at 3-4 builds behind where they currently are. So it's good to give feedback. In some ways, you do feel like, well, I'm giving feedback on this, but I bet they've already evolved it.
Now, what do you think about Charms Are No More? Now he's got Action Center.
Well, I like Action Center, but I can certainly see the point that people are making about navigation on a tablet with the Charms. The Charms were good where they were for that, and the little hamburger menu is really difficult to touch on even on an 8-inch tablet. So I hate to think what it'd be like on a 7-inch tablet.
I think the action center with the notifications are great. That you can now, like you can on Windows Phone, see notifications and they don't just disappear once you've been alerted to them. And the shortcut buttons are good as well. The tablet mode, VPN, and all that kind of.
Yeah, I do wonder if this will evolve, that the Action Center you'll be able to choose the charms if they give that level of customization. So you may maybe choose to have the devices charm or the share charm.
Well, I think the problem they've got, I think charms are dead, aren't they? And we're not going to get those back now. We've got this Action Center, which I really like, but the problem is some applications rely on the charm for the settings. So if you wanted to go and check for new apps in the Windows Store, you go to the settings and then do app updates, or quite a few, even Microsoft ones, you have that for settings for signing. I think OneNote or for your account or whatever. But if you look at the newer Windows apps, and I think there's only a couple which are new, it's like the Pictures one and the Store and the Map. They don't have any option to bring those charms in at all now. So they've obviously Microsoft are going away from them. But to get at charms, the old settings charms on something like the store, the current store, it's a kind of a weird motion, isn't it? You open the app, you drag it down, then it gets the hamburger menu, then you tap on that, and then you've got settings.
Yeah, it's too many clicks at the moment.
Yeah. So, but if you look at, say, the new store, there's no options at all. All those settings and the new Pictures app are built into the app. So I think perhaps what they'll do at Build is they'll show developers how to move you away from using that, and so that you won't need those anymore. You won't. And I think I'm going to load this up now. The new Pictures. I think it's called Pictures, isn't it? Or is it called Photos?
Photos,
yeah. So the new Photos app. If you want to share a photo, I don't think you need to do it through the charms. In fact, you don't. The buttons are on the side, and there's the hamburger menu. So that's. It seems to me they want developers to incorporate those back into their app.
What's interesting on that one is it doesn't have the hamburger menu in the top
Yes,
menu.
it knows.
It knows it doesn't need it. So there must be coding to do that as well, which is interesting. I don't dislike that. I think that's. I know people dislike the hamburger menu, but it's interesting. The hamburger menu there is used just really to pop out the side panel and close it.
Yeah, but then if you go open the new Pictures app, the hamburger menu is there anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In the new photo app, which I'm looking at, if you click on the hamburger menu, all it does, like the music app currently does as well, it opens and closes the left-hand menu. So
the left-hand menu. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but then, So I think you're right. Maybe at Build they'll show off how to do that. But as far as I can see, the old accessing it the old way, is gone, isn't it?
Yeah, I have to say it'd be really easy for them to do something for old apps to put a left-hand menu in.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, just a drop down.
Yeah, well,
when you press on the hamburger, an automatic hamburger detecting those. Yeah,
automatic. So if you don't set whatever flag it is to say you want one, it automatically puts the hamburger in the same position as the photo one and puts the charms down the left-hand side.
Yeah,
with descriptions beside them if you open it up. That would work really well.
Yeah. So there's obviously a transition between these UI sort of paradigms, and charms are gone, Action Center's here, and I'm quite pleased to see that. But I like the influence from Windows Phone, because eventually, it's an upside down Windows Phone notification center, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, do you think that? I mean, notification comes in from the right at the moment. Do you think it actually will come in from the top eventually on tablets, on the sub?
Yes, it would make more sense, I think.
Yeah. Because it makes for a really good portrait tablet now experience.
Yes,
that's why I've sort of it almost pushes you into a portrait, because everything scrolls up and down rather than left
true.
right.
Yeah. Now you mentioned settings there. So at the bottom you've got the sort of action buttons, like so you connect, which it connects to Miracast, and you've got all that kind of shortcut buttons. So they pick those up from Windows Phone, isn't it? A nice, easy option. And there's an expand button, so there's a few more, and I think they've ported that over to Windows Phone as well. So that's available the same on both systems.
Yeah, I think we'll have a very common settings experience.
Yeah.
Between the two, which is good.
It's good that control panel's gone, I've got to say.
Yeah. Although there's still some stuff. If you look for certain settings, they end up you pop up the old control panel.
Yeah.
Still at the moment.
I'm sure it'll be there. I'm sure you can launch it by whatever it is. .cpl.
Yeah. Well, I think there's some control panel things in there which people don't use generally, which need to be there.
Yeah.
I've used a couple of them, so which is quite good. No, I think that certainly on Windows Phone, it's got better than the current settings layout we have, isn't it? It's that's a bit of a nightmare. What I will say is I'm really impressed with the scaling on the icons on the settings screen. I'm assuming that there's some sort of vector art rather than because on my running them in 1080p on the full screen, they look as good as they do on running on a tiny screen.
Yeah, they look quite nice on the tablet as well. So yeah, you're probably right.
Really, really impressive for those.
Now, other thing that they announced is, we can actually get to play with is the tablet mode, which is if you've got Continuum. I think that's only works on Surface Pro 3s, isn't it, at the moment, where it detects when you take the keyboard off. But if you've got any other one has the tablet mode, I mean, you can stick it on your desktop. I've tried it on my desktop. So
yeah, as I say, I'm running it on my big screen here. But although it's a bit weird because you can't get out of programs.
So what do you think? What do you think of this new tablet mode, Jason? What do you think?
Yeah, I like it. Like, I find it a bit confusing that there's these two maximize buttons. One because when you first enter tablet mode, I think the modern apps run full screen, but you can still see the taskbar, and then you've got like an extra icon that enables you to then actually then completely maximize it, which is a bit strange. But yeah, I think I mean it's certainly something that I think is going to look good.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's been an update or something, because I've noticed that today I'm not getting the title bar on any of my full screen apps.
I know. It's actually I'm just looking at the photos one, and actually that doesn't do as I just described. But I think it was the Mail app.
Yeah, I've just tried the Mail app because that was definitely doing what you said, where it was popping up. The title bar, and then the title bar was disappearing.
No, mine's working with the bar there, unless I tell it otherwise.
But you're on a touchscreen, aren't you?
Yeah.
See, I'm not on touchscreen, so I was relying on that title bar to be able to navigate, and I can't.
Now, have you noticed that all apps and all Windows are treated equally on this?
Mm.
So, if you think back to Windows 8.1, you had the desktop and all the desktop windows that were there. So, if you had the desktop up version of IE and Explorer open and Notepad or whatever, when you task switch by swiping in from the edge between you task switch between the desktop and all its apps as one, and then the modern apps. Whereas now you task switch, it brings up the new task switcher, but each window gets its own thing in its own right, isn't it? Regardless of whether it's a modern app or a traditional app.
Yeah.
And you can close windows, can't you? Close programs by dragging down in the same way.
Yes, which I wish would work with a mouse, but it doesn't. I mean, they have made tablet mode is definitely touch. Whereas before it was mixed tab, you could actually do a lot of the tablet type gestures with your mouse. You can't now. So they're assuming if you're using a mouse, you're going to be on desktop, which is fine. I don't really have a problem with that. I've just got so used to some of those gestures that I'd quite like to be able to do them still. But yeah, I think it's definitely interesting, the approach to tablet. I mean, there's some things to my mind which don't again, going back to this landscape portrait stuff. There's stuff which works well in portrait, which doesn't work so well in landscape. Task switcher being one of those. Task switcher is really difficult to use single-handed in landscape mode.
Yes,
whereas the old way of doing it with the thumb inside was really easy. You could whereas it works really well in portrait mode. You can flick it into the side and you can stretch across and tap it quite easily. So it's one of those really strange things where they're almost forcing you into portrait mode on a tablet.
And have you noticed as well, if you're in tablet mode, it's actually impossible to get to the desktop?
Well, it depends on the size of the tablet, doesn't it?
But even on an 8-inch one, you can't. There's nothing. You can't see the desktop. The traditional desktop, with the shortcuts on. You can't.
Yes, you can, because I'm in tablet mode and I'm seeing the desktop.
You can see it if you've got no apps running, but you can't interact with it.
No. You can, if you tap, the desktop reveal thing on the start bar at the bottom on the taskbar at the bottom. That
So-
works to reveal the desktop, but only if you've got the taskbar at the bottom, which obviously you don't get on smaller tablets.
Yeah, because I'm on the 8-inch one and it's in tablet mode here, and not that I want to get on the desktop, but even if I close all my apps, I
Yeah.
still can't get
And
to it.
the only way to get to it is to click that reveal desktop thing at the bottom right edge of the thing, which is really difficult to touch.
Oh yeah, actually you're right. Yes, I get you. Yeah.
That's the only way you can do it, but you can do it that way, which is fine.
Who wants to get to the desktop when you
Exactly.
use touch anyway?
That's what I was going
But
to say.
yeah, to be honest,
It doesn't
I
work with
think
fingers and thumbs.
it doesn't, and I actually think the way it works, where you can get to all your 30 old Win86 apps, is absolutely fine.
Yeah.
I think one of the things which has been certainly been a lot of debate in the Linux community about the fact that 7-inch tablets aren't classed as full tablets anymore.
Yeah, they're large fun. We'll come back. Well, no, let's talk about that now. And so they made a clear distinction, didn't they? Or Joe Belfiore did during his keynote, that there's anything 7-inch and below is classed as a mobile device and a phone, effectively a phone, and 8-inch and above is something else.
Yeah. One of the strangest statements on that I've heard is that even if you're running an Intel tablet, below a new Intel tablet, it's important to distinguish between new and existing. So a tablet which is bought with Windows 10 on it, even if you're running an Intel one which is below 8 inches, it will not be able to run x86 apps.
Correct. Yeah, I did a little table today because I saw Joe's tweets, and if you put that together, that's exactly what it's saying. So if you've got my Link 7, and when I eventually do upgrade that to 10, that will have the desktop on it. It will be in tablet mode, but you will have the desktop and you'll be able to turn tablet mode off, I guess, and run Windows 32 apps. But on new ones that come out, even on Intel ones, I don't think you'll be able to turn that tablet mode off, and I don't think there'll be any Win32 apps on there. But I'm not quite sure what they mean by that. But it did say that it was no access to Win32. Yeah,
which to me, I guess there's going to be two SKUs of the operating system. I know it's one core, but there's still actually going to be two operating systems. The phone and small tablet one, and the bigger tablet and desktop.
That makes me think, really, and I think probably what you're just about to say is, I wonder if the actual technical installation is the Windows Phone installation rather than on 7-inch ones.
Almost certainly.
Yeah, that would be my expectation.
I think a 7-inch tablet is classed as is this quote small tablet they were talking about. So, and I don't disagree with that. I think 7 inches is a reasonable size for that. What I do disagree with is the fact that you can take a 7-inch tablet and plug it into a big screen, and then it becomes not a 7-inch tablet anymore.
Yeah,
but would you be able to though with that OS?
Not going forward.
You might be able to Miracast it, but
yeah, possibly. But even I suppose you might not get HDMI outputs. Maybe that's a thing they'll put in the certification for it. They certainly at the moment they don't do, but
because the HP Stream 7 that doesn't have HDMI out.
No, it doesn't. But you can run it on Miracast, and again, with a keyboard, it's just like running on a full desktop. And I certainly I don't know. I mean, it seems an odd restriction to put on Intel tablets to me. I certainly could see the point that you don't want in tablet mode to run with any of those apps running, because maybe that's the thing that is too difficult for people to actually understand. If you can't run apps in tablet mode, but you can run them in big screen mode. Maybe that's the problem. But this was always the problem with the RT stuff that they got so many returns because people picked up RT tablets thinking they could run full Windows. But maybe they do say it's the phone operating system that makes more sense to people. They're just getting a bigger phone.
Yeah, and I think let's face it, on a 7-inch tablet, I know you say you can potentially plug it into a bigger screen, but 7-inch tablet, the desktop's going to be unusable anyway.
Yeah,
even if you could get, and you're not going to want to install Visual Studio on a 7-inch tablet.
Put it on my 8.
Well, yeah, I should have known that.
But yeah, you're right, and I don't disagree. I totally don't disagree with the idea that 7-inch tablets running in tablet mode on a 7-inch screen, you do not want the traditional desktop.
No.
It makes no sense to have it, and the way they're running it makes more sense to me. What doesn't make sense to me is not being able to run certain full screen x86 apps, because this is going to be the iTunes problem again. One of the bigger reasons that Surface RTs got returned was because they wouldn't run iTunes. But is that actually going to be a problem with a 7-inch tablet if it's sold as I hate the word, but as a phablet, as an extension of the phone operating system, and it's clearly branded in that way. I don't know what the branding is. Windows 8 for mobiles or whatever they're going to call it. Windows 10 for mobiles, whatever they're going to call it.
But surely also at some point, I mean, assuming that Windows 10 does gain enough traction, at some point, surely Apple, I use the term loosely, have to write a modern app.
I don't know. I still don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it, but going one of either way. But I noticed Gary made a nice segue, which we ignored, into a Windows RT there.
Yes.
Will I be running Windows 10 on my lovely Lumia 2520 on my Surface 2?
Well, yeah,
listen to.
Who knows? I mean, first of all, I think the comment Gary made last week, where you said, Gary, that Microsoft have forgotten that they ever made Surface 2 and the RT ones. You were quite correct. It's totally slipped their mind during the keynote.
Yes.
They have erased that from the memory, haven't they? It's now Surface Pro 3 all the way, and that's it. And they never even mentioned the RT tablets. So I think a couple of people asked during the Q&A, and their answer was there will be some kind of update for Windows RT devices. So it's hard to say. I mean, it could be they get the phone version. It could be that, but then that would look a bit weird on a 10-inch device on the Surface 2, or it could be that they get the full Windows 10 just without, with restrictions on the apps, or it could be it just gets a new start menu. They haven't really explained it, but I think Windows RT is dead anyway.
Yeah, I wonder whether or not that they got far enough down the line for what was going to be Windows 8.1 Update 2, and that's the sort of thing we'll be looking at getting on the RT, on the ARM tablets, that it might have apps, Metro apps being able to run in Windows, and a start menu and come start screen kind of thing. So it would be possibly where they got to in that development life cycle. I can't imagine that it's going to get access to the new store. I can't imagine it's going to get access to the modern apps. But I think I've got a general feeling on Twitter that most people are like, we'll chuck these devices in the bin now. But, some people have still got a first generation iPad, which doesn't get the latest iOS. Doesn't mean to you the device is any less useful than it was. Yeah. And at the end of the day, my Lumia 2520 is going to be 2 years old, getting on that way by the time Windows 10 comes out. So, well, on the one hand, I'm disappointed. It's 2-year refresh cycles. That's the way we are now.
Well, it'll be interesting. You talked about app support there, and there was actually a post I saw on one of Microsoft's sites saying that the update for RT will include support for new universal apps.
Right.
But what does that actually mean?
Yes. What on earth does that mean?
Because if it doesn't get the new core, then it's not going to be able to run most of those apps. Aren't going to be able to run on it anyway, because there's going to be a whole lot. I'm hoping there's a whole load of new APIs and things that we can actually use as a developer. So yeah, I mean that's an interesting statement. I think that one really is going to be wait and see what it would actually, from other than the fact that the phone build hasn't got physical keyboard support. I don't know, maybe it does going forward. Currently, it doesn't. That would actually make sense to run the phone version on a Surface tablet. Although it doesn't meet that criteria of being sub 7-8 inches. But
no, but I mean, then they're only about 10.1 inch devices, aren't they? So it's not that far off, and there's no reason why Windows Phone ARM couldn't scale up to that point. So I mean, it certainly could be interesting, that it could well be the Windows Phone operating system that they end up getting. And I wouldn't be completely unhappy about that, because at the end of the day, that's why I wanted a Windows RT device. I wanted to get away from the x86 stuff. And, if it does get the touch first version of Office, then actually, again, I don't really mind if the desktop goes away.
Now, just on that, though, the one thing that I think is a shame, or has been overlooked, is while they're throwing all the weight behind sort of Intel and everything's fine on that, there is still a market. Chromebooks are shown for simple devices that don't need any configuration. You can't install viruses and crapware and toolbars and things like that.
But isn't that the Windows 10 for sub 8-inch tablets?
But in a bigger device, the Chromebook's a big device.
I guess there is that. Yeah. So, well, yeah. I mean, actually, it depends really what the rules are, because it potentially it could be, if they don't put rules on it, someone could end up producing a 10-inch small tablet.
Yeah.
I do think. I mean, I'm the first to say I would look. I want a device that's an appliance rather than a PC. But on the flip side of that, Windows, since the Windows 8 era, it is so easy to refresh and reinstall the PC that actually, if it does get to the point where it's unworkable, then just refresh it. It's going to wipe out everything that's on it. You could even do a full reset. Obviously, the risk there is if there's some kind of boot virus, but I'd hope in this day with secure boot and UEFI and everything that we're maybe getting beyond those, kind of rootkit boot type viruses.
Yeah. It's sad that RT's gone, but you can see why. They go where the market is, and Surface Pro 3's tending to be a very popular device, and I think they leave the lower end for the operators. I mean, now they're going to compete with Link 7 at £79, and even the bigger tablets are cheap. So maybe they leave that market to the OEMs. Now, what else did we? Oh yeah, so. What else I want to talk about? Also, Windows Phone, there was quite a few new little nice things in there. Did you notice that you could do inline reply to text messages?
Yes, yeah, and I like the fact you can move the keyboard around the screen for bigger one-handed use.
Yes.
And I think while that doesn't make sense, and I think they were talking about this on Entertainment 2.0 as well, that doesn't make sense for a normal keyboard to be movable around the screen. But I think with the shape writing in Windows Phone, I think having a smaller keyboard makes sense, because you're not having to be accurate. You just slide in between the letters. And it's
I think
that's
what they missed on Entertainment 2.0. That was that fact, because I think that's really quite key, because it does actually work with a thumb and that size small keyboard. It will work really well.
Yes, yeah, definitely. I mean, certainly, being able to make the keyboard smaller and drag it to the side is different if you're trying to tap each key. But the shape writing is so accurate.
Yeah.
Well, my wife would probably disagree with that, given some of the nonsensical text she gets, but that's just because I'm too lazy to review it.
I think I think on the 1520 it's going to work really well for me.
Yeah, definitely on bigger devices.
And it's supposed to be getting better as well, isn't it? There's going to be some improvement stuff.
And also, they did you notice as well? They talked about using Skype for messaging that would send, it could be used in combination with SMS, so kind of how iMessage works.
Yeah, exactly how Windows Phone 7 used to work.
Yes.
In the old Messenger days. So yeah, I'm pleased to see that coming back. I think that will work really well, especially if it is clever enough to switch, because you don't want to manually switch between them. But if it's clever enough to know, well, the person you're texting is on Skype already, then and particularly if they're also on a Windows phone, a Windows 10 phone device, then they're also not going to know that your messages are actually coming across via Skype.
Now, there was a lot of new apps shown, and in the build that we've got, not all of them were available. So, first of all, the Mail app for Windows 8.1 is dead. Thank God.
Yes. Outlook is dead. Long live Outlook.
Yes. So we're getting a proper Mail app now.
Yeah, proper. So actually, in fact, Mail is dead. Long live Outlook, isn't it? Because it's going to be an Outlook app. Interesting enough, it's also going to be the same. It's going to replace the one on Windows Phone as well, isn't it? So it's going to be available on both platforms. What they said. So, and it does look good. I did like some of the ideas and sort of the quick triage option to swipe left and swipe right to do things, and I might forget which way around I'm swiping, which could be a main pain.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting choice for me, because on a device where on my Surface Pro 3, where I've got full Office 365 installed, but then I've also got a really lightweight version of Outlook, a touch first version of Outlook. Which one would you actually end up running?
Yeah, it's an interesting concept.
I think they look good, and this idea of universal apps that sort of links both way around works well, and the Word app and the PowerPoint app all look really good.
Yeah. I have to say, having said that though, I've actually, the Mail app has been working way better for me on Windows 10 than it did previously. I don't quite know why that is, but it does seem to have been.
Yeah, I don't like my Surface 2 hates the Mail app. It just it takes up 10, sometimes 2 minutes maybe to open an email. You know, like just like what our regular email. Are you ready to? Are you recording tomorrow? It takes 2 minutes to open it, and in the meantime, I get my phone and read it and answered it.
Yeah, well, that's what I find. Sometimes you get that blank mail thing appearing, but that doesn't seem to be happening to me since I've upgraded to the new version of Windows 10. So maybe I don't know. Maybe they fixed something.
Yeah. So so all the Office, Touch First Office. I mean, that's a whole probably hour show in its own right, but that looked really good as well, and be glad to get those on the phone.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
What I did really like was the new Xbox app.
Oh yeah.
Yes, that was a good twist, and one of the things that they talked about was the fact that you will be able to stream Xbox One games to a PC, which really close to my heart because with the kids growing up, we've been talking about getting giving them a games room, and it seemed a bit ridiculous buying another Xbox One to go upstairs, but now with the PC upstairs, they'll be able to just play the Xbox One downstairs.
Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, I can. Yeah, when we're all sat, the family sat downstairs and we're watching TV, and I don't necessarily watch the program they're watching. I can just plug the Xbox controller into my laptop, and I can play Forza Horizon.
Yeah,
and not tying up the TV. I mean, it's a great idea.
One thing I wasn't clear on is it a one-to-one relationship? Can you only have one game running on one machine?
I suspect so, because when you're running a big game like the Forza Horizon or Halo or whatever, then it's using all the cores.
It's all using the core. But isn't some of the graphics being offloaded to the PC in that case?
I don't think it's doing. I think it's streaming video.
It's purely streaming rather than actually sending.
Yeah.
Because there's two ways you can stream games. I mean, you can stream just the actual the screen things, or you can stream the commands to draw the graphics, which is why some things approach it.
They haven't really said, but I suspect it'll be the video streaming, because I think they said you can play on a tablet as well, so with a low powered device.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if you look at our new version of DirectX,
that's what I was just going to say. So it's possible that they might be doing the latter, and just streaming the instructions. But even so, I think the Xbox One I don't think it's powerful enough to be able to do those two things at the same time.
Yeah, okay.
And then you've got game licensing issues with buying.
Oh yeah, that's what. Well, I was thinking maybe you can play one game on one PC.
Yeah.
Play another game on a different PC.
No,
yes.
I suspect it'll all be tied together, but I think it's a great option, and maybe they'll open up the reverse as well, so you can stream a Win32 app to your TV.
We did say Windows 10's coming to Xbox. It didn't say how, but it did say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then of course there's the cross-platform gaming. So games written for the PC will be playable via Xbox Live against someone else playing on an Xbox One.
Yeah.
So I think that's people have talked about Microsoft neglecting the PC gaming industry. I think they've certainly made a good intention to switch that around.
And in-game record as well, which I thought was
my kids are impressed with that.
Especially the fact you can actually effectively go back in time and record. I'd love to have that for not gaming, for demos of software, because I love to be able to capture bits when we're demoing stuff. So yeah, I think that's and there's no reason why that shouldn't work, actually, because he was doing it on Steam, wasn't he? So that's just another app.
It's direct. I think it's sitting between the DirectX layer, isn't it, somewhere?
Yeah. So DirectX, which I actually thought was one of the most exciting announcements of the whole thing, but people probably didn't because it's so fundamentally good under the hood, that DirectX. The stuff they were demoing and talking about the things. So which version of DirectX is this? Because I can never remember the version numbers.
This will be 12.
12. Yeah, 12.
So DirectX 12. It's faster. It uses less processing power. Uses less processing battery. So it's using less processing power. So it uses half the battery, which has got to be good. So that means it's going to be generating less heat in your PC as well. So all these things are really good. Very impressive with that. And there's some talk that DirectX may actually become more than just games. Maybe the XAML engine might actually start picking up some DirectX integration as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, the other big app that was shown that we haven't got yet is the new browser, which we did predict, the Spartan browser.
Yeah,
Project Spartan.
Project Spartan. A few names running around today this week. Edge browser.
Edge seems to be the one.
One which people seem to think it might be. But someone actually said IE Edge, which doesn't make any sense to me. Because the idea was to get away from the IE branding.
Yeah.
I wondered if this was partly to get away from because I think they've tried to turn around the image of Internet Explorer, but I don't think it's necessarily been very successful. I think this is a way of distancing themselves away from that.
I think Spartan's a great name.
Yeah, I do.
Just stick with that. Like the Cortana, just stick with Spartan.
Yeah, I think there's already a campaign for that going, isn't there? I know Windows Central have been quite keen to persuade them to keep that name.
They need to really. Sorry,
so it actually makes sense with what it is. It's a browser which gives you what you want when you need it without all the clutter.
Yeah, and they really do need to get it out, because on a tablet using the desktop IE is not good because of the bar at the top. I mean, it's just ridiculous compared to how slick the full screen one was, where you could just swipe up and tab switch and everything else. But on this 8-inch tablet, using the desktop IE doesn't make any sense. So I'm really looking forward to Spartan. It looks a great browser, I've got to say.
As long as it's got flash and Silverlight, I'll be happy.
Yeah, and I mean, also, really in the name, it doesn't need to mention the internet. I mean, Netscape, Firefox, they don't, they don't shout out the internet, do you? Web browser to you. So I think Spartan would be a good name.
Yeah, and some of the things, if anyone's not seen the video, you can mark up pages and easily share pages, but I just think because it's the modern rendering engine, and it's going to be an app, isn't it, rather than a operating core part of the operating system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So more regular updates.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to get that because it looked like that UI was designed for touch, and Internet Explorer most definitely isn't in the current build.
No, definitely not. And that's one of the things that's been putting me off putting onto my Surface.
Yeah,
a
it's not a
non-touch
nice
browser with just a no-go. Plus, with all the graphics drivers issues that I've seen people talking about, I've decided to hold off on that one.
Yeah.
I can't say I'll be as restrained when it comes to the phone, though.
Yes, I think so.
I haven't seen the demos. The one thing I would love to see is with Cortana getting cross-platform, I would really be able to like to see her popping up notifications, to say on my tablet that there's a text message arriving on my phone, and even be able to maybe send a response to it through to the phone, and so getting Cortana to set reminders on the phone and things like that.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about Cortana. I mean, I've got that enabled by changing my region to US, keyboard to US.
I was disappointed that it's not available in the UK, given it's on the phone, but
different vocabulary.
Yeah,
that's the problem. So the vocabulary is very tuned on Cortana, and it's a different vocabulary for desktop. So it'll take them a while. Shouldn't take them too long though, because they got teams in place.
And please, Joe, don't do another canned.
That canned demo was awful.
It was absolutely. And even he looked really uncomfortable. I mean,
he did. Because Joe's an off-the-cuff talker. He's one of the best talkers out there.
Yeah.
To script Joe is like putting him in a straitjacket. It's not the right thing to do.
No, I mean, when he's actually doing the demo and sending emails, and that is fantastic. But that canned conversation was just so cringe-inducing.
Yeah, I don't know who thought that was a good idea.
I did have a play with it, and some of it works quite well. Like you can say, play me some music like you do on the phone, and it shuffles your music. Interestingly, it shuffled the music from Windows Media Player, and Windows Media Player shows up in the volume control in the volume box that comes when you showing you what it's playing, which is the first time I've seen that. But a lot of the time it kept saying, "I'm sorry, it's not available," or "I'm sorry, there seems to be a problem right now," when using the voice. But yeah, the principle's there, and I think it's going to be quite good. I did turn on the Hey Cortana, always listening, but it didn't seem to work on this on Core 8.
No,
sorry, go on.
I was going to say I've heard quite a few people saying that's not working particularly well, but it's early days. It really is early days.
It does work really well on my phone, albeit that you need to pause and wait for it to wake up and start listening. But yeah, no, it does work really well. So the other, because I know we're getting late on time, but the other thing which was mentioned very briefly and then brushed on the carpet was the Xbox Music Locker via OneDrive, which I've been waiting for a long time. But I do hope that it's intelligent enough to be able to up rate, at the bit rate on tracks that do match. But I really hope it fixes my problem of whereby I've got music that stops being available via Xbox Music, and then I haven't got my own copies on my tablet. I really hope, a bit like the Photos app is able to dedupe the same photos, I hope it can dynamically adapt to if a music that was in Xbox Music disappears, it then reverts back to playing the OneDrive version, because I don't want to have to upload my entire music collection.
Me neither.
No, I think that's going to be I'm really looking forward to seeing that, because that's one thing that's been really missing itself. Is that's a bit of a weak area, that music. So I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, we could probably have time next week as well to talk a bit more about our actual experience using the Windows 10. But we have to mention what was rumored to be a headset announcement, wasn't it? But it turned out to be something totally different. HoloLens.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
this is, as Richard Gumbel on Entertainment 2.0 pointed out, this is nothing about holograms, but
It's a good name.
It's a great name.
Yes.
So-
They also mentioned that on the other show. Oh gosh, my name slips me now. The other show on their network. Chris Barnes will never forgive me.
Oh yeah. Chris Barnes will never forgive you for getting.
The end user, isn't it?
That's
Forget the
it.
end
Thank
user,
you. Sorry, Chris.
I remember.
Yeah.
They also mentioned on there. I mean, it's not holograms, but God, it's bloody close.
Yeah, well, it gives you basically it gives you pseudo holograms, and let's face it. I mean, when you've got someone popping up on stage looking like something out of Star Wars on the table, yeah, you've got to wear a pair of glasses to make it happen, but you've got to wear a pair of glasses to watch 3D TV. So it's a far better experience than that. So this is basically augmented reality done properly.
Yeah.
It's something I've been wanting to see for a long time, because we've seen VR done a lot, done well quite a bit recently, which is virtual reality. So the difference between augmented reality and virtual reality is basically augmented reality, the images are overlaid on what you're seeing around you. And to do that properly means you've got to know what's around you. And this thing seems to do that exceptionally well, certainly from the demos I've seen, from the reviews I've heard. And the demos they had was just amazing.
Mm.
I mean, the canned ones on the videos were brilliant, but the one actually on stage was astounding.
Yeah, and I think what shows how far along this is the fact that the people present actually got to have a go on it.
Yeah, admittedly on hardware which isn't quite as slick as the
yes,
the stage, but
it wasn't like I still remember the original Kinect video, and Kinect is nothing like shown in the video. But from what I've read from the tech press, it actually the demo they got was as close to what they saw on stage.
Yeah, basically what was shown on stage was demoed to them, the Skype side. I mean, that Skype calling is exactly what I've wanted from a computer since I was growing up.
Yes.
The idea of being able to interact in the real world and have a conversation around. So basically, what they're showing on this was plumbing taking place, and someone trying to do plumbing, and someone else on a normal flat screen surface, not actually on HoloLens, being able to interact with them, see what they were seeing, and actually work it. I think that is the real benefit of this system. And now you're going to look geeky wearing this stuff, but I can imagine that every house having one or something like this in the future, because the support is just brilliant.
And I think the thing I liked about it is it's like you see the augmented side rather than virtual reality. I've played with the Oculus Rift, and you are totally closed off. Someone could come and beat you over the head, and you wouldn't know they're coming at all. Whereas the Microsoft HoloLens, you can wear while you're sat at your desk and have that augmented reality in your room with you, and you're still aware of your environment, which I think is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
I just said, when can I buy it, please?
So did your kids want one as well?
I was just going to say they've unlocked every 10-year-old wanting one of these because they can play Minecraft in their living room.
Yeah.
Why did Microsoft buy Minecraft? I think we just found out.
Yeah. I think I tweeted that the other day, didn't I?
Yeah.
On the first day. But yeah, I mean, it's such a great demo for it. It really is. It's the ultimate demo for it.
Yeah, that's it blew my kids when I saw that. Wow! So they were talking about it at school, and there's a lad in their class who's a Mac, fan and has iPhones, and he said, "Yeah, but I want one. I hope it works with the Mac." I think you can see why, and it has so many applications, and that I just can't wait to see it as a product.
Yeah, I mean, Josh on Entertainment 2.0 said he couldn't see it being less than $2,000, which I don't know. I actually think it could be cheaper than that.
I thought that because, and this is the, yeah, I had that exact same thought, and my reason being is that, you know, with the Core M processor, and it's just running Windows 10, so the hardware can't necessarily be anything special. For my perception of this is all software.
Yeah, and I was talking because I was at an event with loads of developers when this was announced, and I was chatting to one of the guys who's a really high-end Connect developer, does a lot of stuff for modeling and stuff for the computer gaming industry, and with Connects. And he said, looking at that, it's just Connect sensors. I can see the Connect sensors on there.
Got you. Yeah, I mean that was my thinking. That yes, you look at it and think it's producing, you know, 3D holographic type images. It's got to be really expensive, but actually this thing, you know, is running Windows 10, and now this would be absolutely perfect if it ends up running an Atom processor.
Well, it said it was a variant of an Intel Atom. So
I did. I missed that. See, I was thinking what made that sort of technology possible is the fact that with the Core M processors and the Atom, you don't need a fan.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
we've already seen a computer on a HDMI stick, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's what, £80 was it, or £180 for that? So actually, this hardware doesn't need to be that expensive. I think it's software and clever, as you say, Connect style interpretation of the room. You know,
well, let's think about this. A Connect, if it was a Connect, basically Connect sensors, they make a profit on it at around about 150 quid on a Connect. So let's say they did that plus a compute stick, roughly thing, a bit more manufacturing. I reckon about £400.
Yeah, and you know, battery life shouldn't be an issue because, you know, we've already got 7-inch tablets with Atom processors running for 9-10 hours.
Yeah.
And or could it work with some kind of Miracast type technology whereby, you know, it's sending data back to a PC and the PC generates the images and just display.
They have said it's all contained in
right.
Yeah,
right.
they said it was self-contained.
So self-contained. But there's a finger in the air, massive prediction on this. I reckon it'll be sub £400 when launched.
Yes.
Well, I can't wait to see it, and I guess they'll talk more about it at the build as well. For get developers on board.
Finger in the air prediction. I can see myself pre-ordering one.
Yeah.
With £400, I'd buy one of those rather than an Xbox One.
Yes, because I tell you what, I'm you know, I was sitting there, but I'm a kind of a gamer, not as much as I used to be, but I'm sitting there thinking, imagine wearing that headset, playing Forza Horizon 2 on the television, but with the map. And being able to set the GPS coordinates with my eyes, or you know, playing Forza and actually having cars overtaking you on, you know, seeing them.
You can fill in the peripheral vision.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's interesting because the people who've tried this have said the resolution on it is incredible. It's like it's like 4K type resolution. Although I don't think it is, from what I've heard, but that's the impression it gives you. So that demo they said where they had the virtual television, I might be able to buy one of these and do away with my TV.
Yeah, it's got amazing potential, and Rob says it's odd that Google killed Google Glass the week before, but maybe they got wind of this and thought this is taking it a leap forward.
Yeah.
Yes. Although don't let Richard hear you say that, because he's adamant it hasn't been killed. It's just been moved to a new department.
I am in agreement with that. I think the headline's about saying it's dead.
Yeah, that's true. That's what they said. You've moved departments.
But I mean, what is dead is the pre-order program.
Yes.
And this version of Glass is dead, so they may come up with something else.
Yeah.
I mean, my interpretation was that it's just they're doing away with this version of Google Glass, and that there'll be potentially a new improved model coming along.
Yeah, I think so. But I think we'll continue with this next week, because I think I want to spend some more time on this, because I think it's an amazing thing. And we'll also talk more about Windows 10 as we've been using it a bit more during the next week as well. So we've got lots more to talk about next week, and we haven't even talked about any of the news from the last week apart from that, really. I mean, it's a great time to be involved in as a Windows enthusiast. There's some great stuff coming along. I think I'm going to have to stump up and save up for a Surface Pro 3 because I've got all these videos of stuff and I want to get it edited, and I think a Surface Pro 3 would be fine. Jason, which one did you get?
I got the top, the Core i7 with a 512 gig drive, purely because I wanted to run all my virtual machines on it.
I think I'm gonna. I think the i3 is probably a bit under par for video editing, so I think I'll probably go for the i5.
Yes.
And I know what Jason's talking about there is way beyond the spec of this show, but that is amazing what you've done with that, Jason.
Yes, remind me, and we'll talk about that next week because that is worth talking about.
Yes, no, definitely. Yeah, I've got more than that running on it now. So yeah,
We'll talk about that next week. And just to finish off, before we start recording, you just said you were looking at that HP Stream 7. I think it's a nice little device for Windows 7. For a 7-inch device for Windows 8.1, and probably get a good work well on Windows 10.
Yeah.
yes, I think
Because as we were saying earlier, it's an old device, so we'll get the upgrade.
Yeah.
yes, no, I think if I'm going to buy a 7-inch or 8-inch, I think I'm going to wait for an actual Windows 10 device. I think because I mean, this is the first week I've actually stopped carrying my Lumia tablet around with me. I've just been using the Surface Pro 3 almost exclusively.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I'm using the Lynx 8 almost exclusively. I don't carry my development machine when I go to meetings nowadays because I can show everything on the Lynx 8.
Yeah, a nice device. Yeah. But anyway, we've run out of time, so but we will continue the conversation next week, and listeners can join in. Ian at thisisyourlifestyle.com or at iSticks on Twitter. Gary, where can we find you?
I'm at Gary WA on Twitter and also at Fascinating Tech, and we're getting ready for the new issue on Fascinating Tech. So some really cool stuff coming in there.
And Jess, where we find you and your 8-core SQL install.
You can find me at Database Chase on Twitter.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much. Like I said, very exciting times. We're back to talk more. We've got more to talk about, and we'll be here next week. So we'll see you then.
Take care.
Take care. Bye bye.